come to the bold analysis. The cabinet is finally out. It was named. I mentioned in my analysis before this video that Mudavadi only had an ultimatum of 14 days. So by the end of business today, if William Ruto was not going to appoint him in that cabinet chief cabinet secretary post, then that was a breach of that power sharing deal. I have gone through the 22 member cabinet, and I can simply say that Ruto has decided to reward loyalty, and not that all of them are incompetent, but there is what is called political loyalty. Sometimes it comes before competence. For some who maybe did not have opportunity to know who is where, I think it's also important we just give you that list first, swiftly. Mudavadi, Chief Cabinet Minister. Kithure Kindiki, Interior, is taking over Matiang'i's place. National Treasury, former Central Bank Governor Njuguna Ndung'u. Public Service and Gender, Aisha Jumwa. Defense, Eden Duale. Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Alice Wahome. Initially, this water and sanitation was merged with agriculture, but now it has been separated. Then Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Alfred Mutua, one of the most lucrative ministries. Trade, Moses Kuria. East African Community, Lands and Semi-Arid Lands, Rebecca Miano. Roads and Infrastructure, Public Works, Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen. Lands, Zakaria Mwangi. Tourism, Penina Malonza. Agriculture, Mithika Linturi. Education, Ezekiel Machogo. He's taking over from Magoha. Energy and Petroleum, Davis Chirchir is making a comeback after 2015 exit. Sports, Hababu Namwamba. SMEs and Cooperatives, Simon Chiligui, this is where the Hustlers Fund falls. Mining, Salim Vuria. Labor, Florence Bore. Health, Susan Wafula. Communication and ICT, Eliud Owalo. Environment and Forestry, Soipantoya, former Narok women rep. Now, I want to say in this that I've seen different angles being pursued. And by the way, you can also tell us, who do you think is not there and was supposed to be there? For me, I'm saying that William Ruto, maybe we are criticizing him for the cabinet, 50% cabinet for women, but has managed to bring 11 into the cabinet out of 22. Not bad. But again, if you tally out of 26, then he has not reached the threshold. Then, in the coast, Mombasa brought more votes than Kilifi and Kwale and even Taita Taveta and Tana River. Now, but if you look, there are two powerful positions that has gone to Kilifi. And this is because I think William Ruto is really struggling to get Kilifi. So he has given Kingi, Speaker, and Aisha Jumwa. I think Mombasa needed something if we were to look at the cost equation. So someone can think maybe they're given road deal, but we are yet to see because the other positions, chief of staff and all that. I don't know why I've not seen devolution. Do you think it was scrapped, and where is it? By the way, you can help us get to it. Before I look at the next part, which is my key observation, was that the cabinet was going to give us an understanding of how the cake was divided. Vile ng'ombe ilichinjwa, iligawanywa aje. It's actually that cabinet that gives us a glimpse of power sharing deal. And in some extent, I see some element of breach, and it vindicates one of my positions that I have always insisted, that this government was formed by none other than William Samoei Ruto. Any other person that was brought on board was just contingency, cosmetic, and bring vote and go. But in terms of this government, the campaign and all that, I think this is Ruto's government. We don't have Ruto Gashagwa like we had Uhuru Ruto. We actually have Ruto government. I want to tell you why. why I feel the deal was mutilated is look at these three ministries. These three giant ministries being on Ruto's side: Treasury, Interior, and Energy. If you are keen in previous dispensation, we've been treated to how this cake is divided. And it emerged that if there is a ministry that is not very powerful and very influential, is one that Treasury, and then Interior, and Energy. The appointees in those three positions are appointees of President William Ruto. Those names are Kindiki, Juguna, and Davis Chirchir, who is Ruto's handman. And this is a man who was there. This is a man who was there at in 2015. So as you can see these three giant ministries going to William Ruto. That tells you that in terms of cutting the edge, I don't think we had pillars on maybe one. This one goes to Ruto, this one goes to Gachagua, maybe to Mudavadi. But I think let's not involve Mudavadi. Let's just say Ruto and Gachagua because that's president is its deputy, as that was the precedence in the last dispensation. Now, I'm also making another observation that the cake was cut on party line. And when it was cut on party line, I think, and if I look at that cabinet list, I'm not seeing a single name that was forwarded by Rigathi Gachagua. I am not seeing that single name. It was cut on party line. And to make you just there, let's just get back to that list. Let me tell you. And that was done deliberately on party loyalty. Let's start with Kindeke, UDA. Aisha Jumwa, UDA 2. Eden Duale, 3, UDA. Alice Wahome, UDA. Kipchumba Murkomen, UDA. Mithika Linturi, UDA, that is 6. Ezekiel Machogu, UDA 7. Ababu Namwamba, UDA 8. Yes. Eliud Owalo. Oh, I used to have Eliud Owalo, my friend. Eliud Owalo, UDA 8. Soy Pantuya, UDA 9. Those are leaders that have been picked on all other grounds, but you can also trace the UDA power. With that, I am not seeing anyone who was specially brought by the Rigathi Gachagua. And 2, let's look at another aspect. The regional balance. Gema has received 8 out of the 22. And I think, and I can also see Rift Valley has 5, of course 5. Nyanza has 1, of course that was expected. The others are divided. Western has 3. Now, there are some names that are so interesting to me, and these are some of the names I'm also wondering. Who do you think is the linkage? I want us to look at these slots. Florence, no, these three. One is Rebecca Miano, East African Community. I don't know his regional, but he comes from, she was the CEO of Kengen. Before this nomination, she was the CEO of Kengen. So she has roots in that sector. I don't know, because of the region, I don't know, someone will help me understand. But tourism, Penina Malonza vied as a women rep, I think, in Kitui. And at one point, she was also put to be the deputy governor nominee. Yeah, she's the deputy governor nominee, but she vied for women rep position in Kitui. Yes. The other one that I'm also looking at that is also a bit of an interesting development is Dr. Susan Wafula. Dr. Susan Wafula vied as a women rep in Trans Nzoia through Ford Kenya Party. So if there was a point of influence, and I agree with people who I've seen in Twitter, people saying that Wetangula was more influential than Mudavadi even in this appointment. If that could be it, then maybe that name was forwarded under patronage of Moses Wetangula. This is it. This is politics, and politics is managed. Florence Bore, that's Rift Valley. And you can also see Masu Njau was a former CEO of ICT Authority. And of course, it's a bit of an interesting development. So that's a bit of what I have gathered. And if you look at the way it was divided, I cannot trace Musalia Mudavadi's cabinet appointee. Because according to the power sharing deal, Mudavadi was supposed to get 30%. And so the rest was supposed to be divided between Gachagua and Ruto. I cannot see Mudavadi's 30%. If 30% out of that, then he's supposed to maybe at least 5. And those appointments, to me, looks like Ruto's decisions. I don't see a shocking name that will be there. But this was really there because of political loyalty that was being rewarded. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Now, what do you think was, what can you see in this cabinet was the intention of making that direction? Number one, Ruto has picked politically active team to keep the hustler ideals alive. Because the Hustler Doctrine is what will be embedded on people's mind to manage their expectations. When you give the political loyalty, when you take people at the campaign trail and you go them to the cabinet, now most importantly, some of these people are still politicians. And when they go back, and one thing you'll see is a spree of Thanksgiving ceremonies where we are thanking the president for appointing one of our own and all that. This has been happening. And that will be done to show that, of course, he's managed. And, you know, the Hustler Doctrine, Hustler Nation Doctrine is in a manner that people or the supporters of William Ruto tend to have got a feeling that the leaders were seeing in the campaign trail are hustlers, hustler movement. So they want to keep that alive by making sure that these are the people that are going to run the show. And when you have politicians, you can easily deploy them in different areas to manage and to praise the government and to lobby for votes, as well as also defending the government position. Remember, some of them, many of them will be going to the cabinet, will be going to the National Assembly to answer queries. So it will be a very interesting development. But then, what should only worry the president, because he has gone to the cabinet with friends and buddies, are these people going to be brutal and lethal in corruption and cartel demolition? And I can say that Ruto is made a very delicate risk. Politically, it can pay off in the long term, but it's a big political risk. I want you to imagine a situation where there is a major scandal in a ministry that is headed by Kipchumba Murkomen, or a ministry that is headed by Aisha Jumwa. And these are people that are supposed to, and I think let's just pick the one for the Aisha Jumwa, on political or something like that, someone that was fronted by someone. And I also need to mention that some of them that have been picked, you only give credit to William Ruto that quite a number of them are competent. But on these politicians is where there is a challenge. But quite a number of them are competent. Now, it will be difficult even to dismiss, because if you dismiss someone like Aisha Jumwa, it's highly possible for such a person to go back to the community and talk about a betrayal of the Hustler Doctrine. So, appointing the cabinet on the prefix of the Hustler Doctrine is there. It's critical, but I only doubt whether Ruto will be in a position to, in my place is called Kusiemwange, to point the eyes and say, this is wrong. And even dismiss. This became a problem for President Uhuru Kenyatta. And Uhuru Kenyatta had to make very unpopular decisions of dismissing his friends from the cabinet, someone like Mwangi Kiunjuri. Now, control a chunk of voting base and inroads was it. And that's why Mombasa, the coast, is highly been rewarded. Not even the coast, but Kilifi has been highly rewarded, because that's where Ruto had a trouble. And I can tell you, in future elections, they're really going to have their way. What might not have been solved is Kakamega and Busia. Wetangula is Bungoma, cabinet slot kind of sorted. Mudavadi, the man from Vihiga is sorted. If you look at the western equation, Trans Nzoia have a cabinet slot. Busia have also Namwamba. How about Kakamega and so we will looking at it, looking at it, because this was also to politically solve some equations. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's what I've seen. And of course, I'll be so much interested to look at what do you expect that maybe you're not seeing. Just for a knockout. And I also have a feeling that Nyanza has gotten a raw deal. Maybe. I don't know. Walo, okay. Bato, okay, fine. In Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, they had two. They had three. They had Matiang'i, Magoha, Rachel Omamo. Yes, and there was also Osiani. Let's look at it. Let's wait. It's an interesting time to watch. What do you think?